Hi, this is a short video on writing the conclusion and making final revisions for your editorial persuasive essay. When you look at the larger guide that I gave you in the beginning, the persuasive essay writing guide, it covers the different parts of the essay, which we've all gone over in class. The introduction we talked about with the hooker grabber, some background, thesis, your concession statement. You know how to do the body paragraphs. Keep in mind, you may want to do two chunks if you have two good details per reason. And then finally, the conclusion. Okay, this is where you tie up your essay, you restate your thesis, similar to the literary essay. Try to say it in a different way, rephrase it. You want to establish significance, briefly sum up your main points. Why do you want this or need this? Why should this happen? This thing that you're arguing for. Why are you right? Make an emotional appeal, a call to action. Demand what you want and explain why it's absolutely necessary. Be firm. Believe that you are right. If you don't believe it, then your reader will not believe it. Write a personal comment or call for action. Okay, you can do this with a prediction. This can be used with a narrative or a cause and effect discussion. The conclusion may suggest or predict what the results may or may not be in the situation discussed, right? If this does not change, then this. If this change, this great thing will happen. You can end even with a question. A closing with a question lets your readers make their own predictions and draw their own conclusions. What will happen if we do not act now to address climate change? Things like that. What will happen to our grandchildren? With recommendations, closing is one that stresses the actions or remedies which should be taken. You can even end with a quotation. It may summarize, predict, question, or call for action. You can use a quotation in the right way in your conclusion. Another thing to keep in mind is Aristotle's rhetorical strategies. Okay, this goes back obviously to ancient Greece, and they're called logos, ethos, pathos, and kairos. Essentially, logos is logic. If this, then that. Right? If students are spending too much time at night doing homework, then they are not getting exercise. If they are not getting exercise, then they are unhealthy and overweight. Therefore, homework is making kids unhealthy and overweight. Right? That's a logic argument. Ethos is credibility. Okay. This is the Greek word for character. It focuses attention on your trustworthiness. So, what you are doing in terms of your ethos is lending ethos to your argument by using expert opinions. That's what your concrete details are for. That's why you're doing research. Okay. You're 14. That doesn't mean you can't write a persuasive argument, but you need adult experts to bolster your opinion. Okay. You can also show ethos through your tone by showing respect to the person you're arguing against, right? Instead of saying, well, you're wrong because you're not smart. That's an ad hominem attack. You want to show respect for the opposing side point of view. And that's something that, you're not seeing in the world around you right now from the adults. And it undermines your argument when you attack the person instead of the argument. The next one is pathos, okay? And this is a great thing to do in your conclusion. It's the Greek word for suffering or experience, but it literally is using emotion to appeal to people. It focuses attention on the values and beliefs of the audience, right? Everyone cares about kids. No one is against kids. So if you're arguing whatever your topic is, if it's dress codes or if it's homework, you're appealing to people saying, this is better for kids. This will improve their sense of self-worth. This will decrease their stress. This will make their lives better. This will help them learn more. This will be better for kids. Okay, that you can do that in an emotional way because literally there is no one reasonable anyway, or at least who admits it, who is against what's good for kids or against better education. Appeals to the audience's capacity for empathy. Often by using an imaginable story to exemplify logical appeals, right? Like what world will we be leaving our grandchildren and their children with if we do not act now to alter the course of climate change? Okay, that's an appeal to people's own legacy. Logos, logic, and ethos, credibility, appeal to our mental capacities for logic. Pathos appeals to our imaginations and feelings, right? It's to the heart. I joke about the single tier ending, but you help the audience grasp an argument's significance in terms of how it would help or harm the world around them. Okay, And I definitely use this technique in my own sample that I showed you, right? So you see, I start by restating in a slightly different way my thesis. For these reasons, schools should ban students from carrying cell phones into the school building. And then we sort of get into a summary of the argument and final closing remarks using Pathos. Smartphones have become a part of daily life in this country. They're a convenience and to some degree a safety necessity for adults. However, schools need to preserve the education time in the classroom by creating an environment that eliminates as many distractions as possible. It is the responsibility of the school and the community to make hard decisions that, in the long run, are best for our children, right? Single tier. You want people to say, he's right, man. That's so true. Okay? You want people to agree with you. That's the point. And I'm saying, I'm basically implying if you don't agree with me, you don't really want what's best for kids. Okay. That's an emotional appeal. Um, let's go back to Logos Pathos. Kairos is timeliness. Okay. It refers to the timeliness of an argument. Often, for an ad or argument to be successful, it needs an appropriate tone and structure. For example, an ad featuring this is an old PDF. It says Avril Lavigne, but like Kim Kardashian would be better suited to advertisements towards young people than in AARP Retired Persons Magazine, right? This even uses Kim Kardashian in here. I guess it's not that old. But right, you want to use the right people to advertise to the right crowd. Okay, you're not going to use Snoop Dogg to appeal to my father, retired people in their 70s, baby boomers. So also timeliness. Okay, right now, arguments about gender equity are very timely. It's discussed. Arguments about free speech are pretty much always timely, but I think dress codes are very timely right now. So my point is, even if you're not doing one of those, homework, you can approach the timeliness of that by saying, listen, kids are stressed out and anxious more than ever because of the pandemic. Let's not add to that by giving them meaningless work that does not add to their academic achievement. Let's let them spend time with their families. Let's let them be kids. Those kinds of arguments, I think, are timely because it's what's going on right now. So you're connecting, even if it's a timeless issue like death penalty, you can connect it to what we're seeing now in the world. That's Kairos. Effective arguments use each of these rhetorical strategies to some extent. Look at your essay and see where you're doing it. If you're using quotations from research, that's ethos. More quotes is more credibility for you. Some new articles may focus on connecting with the reader's empathy rather than presenting a lot of statistics, but logos or logic is still likely to be involved to some degree. Logos means words, but it's using the words to develop a logical structure to your argument. Some ads may really focus on what's hot now, which seems like a direct appeal to Kairos, but also involves ethos by using a popular celebrity who serves as a credible source on new trends. You believe those sources. Feel like you're ready to analyze? How about write an argumentative essay of your own? Well, that's what you're doing. So this is a stock PDF I got, but it's great and it covers everything that we want to do here. So as you're writing your final draft, look at it and see if you're using logic, using credibility, you're using emotional appeal, particularly in your conclusion, and Kairos. Okay, you want to make a final closing argument at the end of your essay to leave the reader agreeing with you. All right, do a great job. I know you will, and I will see you soon.